Good Sunday evening to you. Thanks for joining us for this digital weather coverage edition of Watch Fox News. I'm Brian McConkey. Of course, this winter weather has been working its way through the Midlands since last night. Despite a few breaks here and there, it is still very much part of our lives. We have team coverage across the region. We're going to start, though, in the SkyWatch Weather Center. That's where Chief Meteorologist Taylor Canusta has been camped out for what seems like the better part of 3 or 4 days. What's it looking like for the next few hours right now and then ahead?
Yeah, so actually right now is kind of our most dangerous part of this whole system because we have heavy freezing rain and a mix of that with sleet moving through the central, really most of the Midlands at this point. Everywhere you see pink on the map is where we have that mix of freezing rain and sleet ongoing. Even in the southern Midlands here where it's showing green, temperatures there are right near or just below 32 degrees. So the radar is actually not interpreting that completely correctly. So here's how it looks locally. Pretty much heavy precipitation everywhere. The heaviest is kind of hidden here behind the pink, but you can tell where it is there farther south in Aiken and Barnwell County. That stretches farther north as well, moving into Lexington County. Bottom line is areas north of this line have seen a mix of heavy freezing rain and heavy sleet. Accumulating sleet, that's how heavy it's been. Farther south, it's pretty much strictly been freezing rain, including in the city of Columbia and farther south. Freezing rain is the precipitation that looks like rain when it's falling, but we have temperatures that are below freezing outside. So once it makes contact with anything, it turns into an icy glaze. And since we have a heavy amount of that falling right now, we may have some thick glaze develop across the area before temperatures eventually warm above freezing later on tonight. It will take longer the farther north you go for those temperatures to warm up. Here's where we stand right now. As this heavy rain has fallen and freezing rain, we have seen a little bit of warming temperatures, but still everyone is at or below freezing still. So we still have that threat for slick conditions across the board. It is still 28 in Camden. Everywhere else camping out in the low 30s. So we're pretty much just kind of counting down the minutes for those numbers to climb above freezing and for the ice to start to melt away. So when is that going to happen? I would say for many of us, it may be within the next 2 to 3 hours. I would not recommend traveling at the moment because of that heavy rain, freezing rain falling at the moment, especially less traveled roads. Those are going to freeze over quicker, and bridges and overpasses will freeze quicker than anything else. As far as the rest of the night is concerned, we will continue with precipitation, but as temperatures are expected to warm above freezing late this evening and overnight tonight, it should transition to just a cold, regular rain. And that should help us improve our road conditions as time rolls on overnight tonight. We are not expected to cool back below freezing overnight tonight or during the day tomorrow. That's what all forecast models are showing us right now. Now, I will say that the models underestimated how cold today was, so I can't completely trust them just yet, you know. So we're going to keep an eye on it, and we'll let you know if the icy road conditions stick around longer than expected. But what's most likely to be the development is icy conditions for the next several hours, gradual improvement overnight tonight, and most roads will be in pretty good shape as we head to the daytime on Monday. The ice storm warning in dark purple, the winter weather advisory in light purple, those are both now set to expire at 4 a.m. late tonight. It was previously until 1 p.m., but that has since been moved up for the cancellation as we head into the overnight hours. Of course, travel, a big concern right now. Let's go ahead and toss it over to meteorologist Will Rowe for a check of the roads across the region.
Yeah, Taylor, as you just saw behind him, we're taking a look at UG Street right at I-126 here in downtown Columbia. There's just a icy glaze over the camera lens there, and the road conditions likely pretty similar to that. Wet spots on the roadways. Temperatures are still below freezing, so there is that possibility that any wet spots still could freeze here over the next few hours until we climb above freezing. Here we are on I-20 mile marker 55 in Lexington. Similar, still got that glaze over the camera lens. Road conditions likely similar, especially with some accumulating sleet and freezing rain over in those areas. Now let's take it a little bit further north. Here we are going towards the upstate. We did have a heavier round of some accumulating sleet You can see it off over here where that field is, accumulating sleet and possibly even a couple of snowflakes out there. And you can even see that on the roadways. So it's good that anyone traveling is taking it on the slower side, but still not the kind of weather that you want to be driving in. And going up towards Rock Hill, closer to Charlotte, they also got a heavy helping of some sleet out there. You see just the camera lens still being glazed and that accumulating sleet on the roadways here where you see all of that white and off to the side. So it really doesn't matter where you go. Up into Greenville, they got even more sleet and even more snow, and most of this likely fell overnight because they got almost an inch of accumulating sleet overnight alone. So the sleet that moved through this afternoon only added on to those totals. It looks like DOT did a pretty good job at keeping the roadways themselves pretty clear, but still with that freezing rain and that sleet continuing to fall, there is still an icy glaze likely on the roadways out there. But with all that freezing rain and stuff that we have been dealing with out there today, there are a good amount of power outages, just under 10,000 over here in Oconee County, Pickens County, almost up to 20,000. Greenville, Spartanburg counties are approaching the 5,000 mark, and over in Kershaw County about 2,000 power outages as of right now. And as heavy freezing rain continues to fall, there is likely going to be more power outages out there later today. So Chief Meteorologist Taylor Knust and I will continue to keep eyes on this as it continues to push through. But like you said, overnight we are expecting some gradual improvements, but still for now stay off of the roadways and stay home at least until tomorrow morning when those conditions do improve. Brian, what you got?
All right, thank you, Will. Thank you, Taylor. Now, in the capital city, a number of shelters open to help people who need it. First responders also ready for anything as well. Our Mike White in downtown Columbia. You talked to police and fire officials this afternoon. What do you know?
Yeah, Brian, there's some ice on the roads here and sidewalks here in Columbia, and right now, as Taylor said, there's freezing rain falling from the sky. And when I spoke to Columbia Police and Fire Department authorities today, they said that the conditions here in the city and the downtown area are actually much better than they anticipated going into this weekend. Now, earlier today, there were some roads closed in Columbia, including the Elmwood Avenue ramp into Huger Street and North Main Street right near I-20. Both of these roads have since reopened, but there's no telling what overnight conditions could bring there. Now, Columbia Fire Chief Aubrey Jenkins says the department hasn't gotten any calls about trees or power lines down in the area. The chief says to still be aware of the possibility of power lines coming down, and do not use appliances in your home like stoves or ovens to provide heat. Now, Lieutenant Arthur Reese with the Columbia Police Department says the roads are much better than anticipated here in the city, but the biggest concern is black ice. He adds the department is treating the storm day by day, and they are still urging people to travel only if it is necessary.
Like I said, we're looking for freezing temperatures throughout the night into tomorrow. Tuesday's going to be another, we'll get through Monday, then we're going to have Tuesdays looking for down into the teens. So we'll possibly have some more refreeze or a hard freeze that night as well.
But the biggest thing that we've seen has just been accidents. You know, we've read quite a few accidents today. And surprisingly, you know, we hadn't really seen any power lines down. We had not seen any significant damage as far as trees coming down, anything like that.
Now, there are shelters and warming centers located all across the Midlands, including Ridgeview High School and the Inclement Weather Center over on Calhoun Street in Columbia. If you know someone who is in need of shelter tonight, please send them over to those locations or another local warming center. Reported in Columbia, Mike White. Watch Fox News, Local First.
Thank you, Mike. A number of school districts have either canceled classes for Monday or they've switched over to e-learning. Now, look at your screen here. These are the e-learning districts. Richland 2. Sumter County Schools, Lexington 3, Newberry County School District, Kershaw County School District as well. Lee County making a decision as well on school. Lexington 2 and Lexington 4 also will transition to e-learning on Monday. That's for students and staff. Some have closed completely. Richland 1 is one of those that will be closed on Monday. No e-learning there. They're concerned about power outages and then connectivity issues after that. So nothing in Richland 1 or also Lexington 1. No school at all. And there are some delays as well. Orangeburg County Schools, 2-hour delay there on Monday. And bus pickup times also be delayed by 2 hours. Our team coverage now taking us to Newberry County. That's one of the areas of the Midlands that was expected to see a significant impact, and they have. That's where our Brawley's Pimentel has been camped out the last couple of days. What can you tell us tonight?
Brian, right now we're definitely seeing some of that freezing rain Taylor was talking about. And so that snow and ice is turning a bit slushy, which isn't helping these conditions. Now, Newberry's Mayor Foster Seen tells me that so far people have been listening to first responder safety advice, but he wants to make sure that continues throughout tonight. According to city officials, more than 20 people are using both Newberry County's warming shelters right now. Roads near downtown Newberry have a thin sheet of ice and windshields are frozen. Many businesses in the area are closed with little to no cars on the road. City officials say no damage or power outages have been reported, but the roads are still slippery and dangerous. Mayor Seen says he wants people to remain indoors and has a tip for people to save money.
It's going to be very cold this week, and so City of Newberry recommends leaving that faucet dripping at night. It only adds a nickel to your water bill, and then also, we're having to people whether they have electric heat or natural gas, that can run into some money. So our local natural gas folks advise setting the temperature to 68 to 70. Your thermostat, maybe that's a little bit less toasty than you'd like, but it will pay off in the long run.
Mayor Seen is reminding everyone to stay indoors and to listen to emergency officials. I'll have more updates out of Newberry County later tonight on the news at 10. Live in Newberry County, I'm Brawley's Pimentel, Watch Fox News, Local First.
All right, thank you, Brawley's. Get back indoors there. I see that rain falling, and it's definitely not warm out. Okay, if you're experiencing a power outage during this event, here are some numbers to call. Dominion Energy, 1-888-333-4465. Maybe if you don't have a power outage, maybe you see a downed line, let them know about it. Duke Energy as well, 800-769-3766. And if you want to check on road conditions, if you have to be out there as things get a little interesting here in the next few hours, just dial 511. We have all that information for you as well at our website, wach.com. And if you are a Comet rider, all service suspended today due to the weather. That includes a USC transit as well, DART services. However, bus service is expected to resume tomorrow on Monday, but there is a note on that, a 2-hour delay start from when those routes normally would start. So if you have any questions about this winter weather response, you can call a toll-free line on your screen 24 hours a day with any questions you might have, 1-866-246-0133. That is statewide. Already, we know we've had crews spread out all across the Midlands tracking this situation. Team coverage now continues in Chapin. Our Kiana Jordan has been there all weekend. What are things looking like here in the 6 o'clock hour?
Yeah, Brian, we actually came on over to the Irmo area, but things were pretty quiet throughout Irmo, throughout Chapin, even the Harbison area for much of the day, really just on and off freezing rain. But as you can see, those weather conditions have kind of increased. Right now, what we're seeing is a heavy really heavy cold rain. We've still got ice on some of the cars out here, but for the most part, I would say we're just seeing that heavy cold rain coming on in. Now this morning when people woke up, they woke up to icicles stuck to their cars, slick grounds, and hazardous black ice. Now DOT workers saying areas like the Harbison Boulevard, St. Andrews Road, and Lake Murray Boulevard were the biggest concerns. Now Watch Fox News also reached out to Dominion Energy officials who say there currently were no power outages in Chapin, Irmo, or Harbison. Now that could change as the night goes on, but throughout the day there have only been a handful of power outages in the state altogether. Now while everyone is being urged to stay inside, some folks are making sure the men and women who have to be out on the roads are taken care of.
Well, right now we're offering first responders, EMT, law enforcement, linemen, coffee and snacks up here. So if they're on shift and they come in, they just need a little warming up, we'd like to invite them in for free and have them take a little load off their feet.
Now, DOT officials want people to stay inside unless you have to, and you can keep up with a map of state-owned road conditions. For more information on how to do that, you can just head on over to our website. But stay tuned tonight for our late edition of the 10 o'clock show to find out why some businesses braved this weather to make sure they could stay open for the men and women who had to be out on the roads. Live in Irmo, I'm Kiana Jordan, Watch Fox News, Local First.
All right. Thank you very much, Kiana. Important numbers to know. 911 always for those severe life-threatening emergencies. For statewide storm information, again, that 24-hour hotline, 866-246-0133. And any type of distress, emotional distress, if you're really feeling this and maybe experiencing some anxiety about the situation, 1-800-985-5990. How about those emergency shelters we've been talking about? Maybe you or someone you know could use one of these. They're all on your screen. These are just a sampling of them. Ridgeview High, Orangeburg, New City Gym, Batesburg-Leesville Senior Center, also the Nice's Senior Center are available if anyone is in need, potentially loses power. Those are places that you can go. Now, in Columbia, dozens actually were braving the cold to protest outside the State House today after Saturday's deadly shooting in Minneapolis involving federal agents. Organizers there saying today's protest was to call for an end to violence by ICE, Border Patrol, and other agencies. Protesters chanting, "Stop ICE terror, expand the general strike." Now, the group is calling on elected officials to put an end to 287G agreements. Those allow state and local officers to act as federal immigration agents and work hand in hand with the feds. Now, the Party for Socialism and Liberation says they don't want what happened in Minneapolis to happen here.
We are not going to allow what is happening in Minnesota to come to Columbia, South Carolina. We're not going to allow for our elected officials to expand their agreements with ICE. We are going to continue to stand in solidarity with the immigrant families that are being currently affected and impacted in the Midlands and across the state. And we're not going to stop until they retreat.
Several groups involved in that protest, including Midlands SC Defense, 5501, and Party for Socialism and Liberation. And we want to know what's happening in your area with this storm. The good stuff. We got pictures being sent in to our Chime In app. You can find it on our website, WACH.com. These coming in from Newberry, from some of our viewers. We want to see what you folks are doing out there. So feel free to send us those pictures. Got the little truck. You need that four-wheel drive. Smart move right there for the kids that are out in the snow right now. This is coming in from Boiling Springs as well into our Chime In app again. Maybe you see some snow, some ice, just the kids having some fun out in all of this. We want to hear from you. So again, go to the website, WACH.com, look for that Chime In app, and you can submit videos and pictures there whenever you want. All right, thanks for joining us for this weather coverage on this digital edition of Watch Fox News. We're going to see you tonight after the NFC Championship game on what will be a late news at 10. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, download the SkyWatch weather app, also the Watch Fox News app to stay up to date on everything weather and everything headlines. We'll see you in a few hours.